got in yesterday. It was a good, nice flight, kind of Cleveland connecting through Denver, really cool. I've never really been out the West Coast. I think the farthest west I've been was when we played Nebraska. So I think just it's a really exciting experience. I'm excited to kind of be out here, and it's really been going really well so far.
Your name's been bandied about as a possible center prospect down the line. I know that's not in your background, but how much has that been discussed, and what do you kind of think of that prospect?
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of have the opportunity to play wherever I can, wherever the team needs me. I think that I haven't really talked extensively with Coach Forster about it, but I think that's something that Mr. Lynch and Coach Shanahan mentioned to me on draft day. So I think that kind of whatever way I'm able to be versatile and kind of help the team, that I'm open to.
Do you have any experience with it at all, even just in practice or anything?
Oh yeah, practice. I'd say kind of work my senior year, just kind of wanting to again address my versatility, kind of being able to play all 5 positions is something that I really kind of want to stretch and kind of really show the most value I can possibly to the team.
Nick, when in college did you start to think or realize the NFL was a possibility?
I'd probably say after my junior year in 2019, I think that kind of got a lot of great feedback from my coaches, and I think that it's kind of when I really was able to kind of really put a plan together and be okay, if I really kind of put my head down, kind of start working, get the best tape out there possible, just really kind of work my body, work my technique. I think that this is a dream that really is attainable, because you really always dream about playing in the NFL, but it's kind of it's always seemed so far away. But kind of when you're able to kind of really set those goals and really kind of believe that they're attainable, I think that's something that I realized post my junior year. Obviously, kind of COVID really put a damper on that, but I think it also allowed me to, one, get my master's, which is something I'm really proud of, and then 2, also come back for another year with my teammates and really put a nice 2021 campaign together.
If you hadn't played, if you had to stop playing after college, NFL wasn't going to happen, what would you have done as far as your career?
Well, obviously, I think that's a big reason I went to Fordham, is that so I'd be able to have a nice backup plan in football, kind of when the game was done with me. And so I definitely think that there's a lot of opportunities that would have been available to me through the Fordham network or whatever. But something that I always wanted to be interested in is kind of with my business analytics degree, kind of and a lot of the data kind of on the up and up in sports around something, working through whether in like the kind of analytics department for either football or kind of baseball, something I'm really interested in too, just because it's not as random as football. There's a lot more controlled variables. I think those kind of advanced sabermetric stuff, I think that's just something that's really interesting to me, kind of like the Moneyball, all that kind of things. So it's something that I like to keep open.
When did you get interested in the analytics side of the sports, and what have you done with it?
I'd probably say my sophomore year of college. I think just kind of always surf like the baseball reference, probably something like the coolest thing ever. Just even looking at like Barry Bonds' baseball reference page, probably one of my favorite sites in general. Just even like that 2004 season, that's something that's just it's so crazy, and just kind of being able to kind of like sites like Fangraphs, kind of making it so much easier for like a casual fan to kind of really see that stuff. And so that's a lot of stuff that I think that is really cool, and I kind of really tried to take notice of. And then kind of as I got further in my studies at Fordham, I was really able to kind of put the data analytics style and kind of being able to do stuff on the computer and be able to analyze stuff myself.
Obviously, football's not as far as long analytically as baseball. You mentioned it's more random, but how much do you believe that football has the potential, if people delve further into the analytics to quantify in the way that baseball can be?
I definitely believe that there's an access to it as well. I just think that you kind of have to have more of a balance between kind of an eye test and then kind of looking at the data, because then I think that, as again you said, there's so many more random variables, there's so much stuff to go against it, and I think that as we kind of learn to understand which kind of able to get rid of all the noise in that data, I think that kind of as we get further along, I think that it's going to become more refined, and I think they'll be really advantageous for a lot of teams to use.
Is there a data point that best reflects your number one asset you're bringing in as a pro?
Probably not, because I think O-line is probably a tough one, but besides kind of like random like PFF data and all that. But I think just that, for me, I think the like, eye test, especially kind of seeing that toughness on the field, is something you can't really put in a spreadsheet.
I was going to ask you about that. You were talking about potentially moving to center. Alex Mack has that same sort of style. I don't know if you've got to talk to him because he's on the fence, but he gets after guys after plays and seems to bother them. You seem to have a similar style. Where does that come from, and why is that important?
Yeah, I think definitely kind of watching guys like Alex, especially growing up in Cleveland, him being drafted, I believe it was like 2008, so I kind of been watching him since I was very young, and kind of being able to see those great Browns O-linemen, him, Joe Thomas, Mitchell Schwartz, just kind of really being able to kind of see how they are able to affect defenses, kind of move guys point A to point B, and just kind of being able to kind of just hear secondhand of how Alex was able to kind of take the game in and kind of what he was able to do. So I think that's something it would be great to be able to learn from someone like that.
49ers said they were super impressed with how you took the game in during the Senior Bowl. Started off rough, and then you made the adjustments. What were those adjustments that you made after day one that week?
Oh yeah, so I definitely think that a lot of it was my set points going at guard, because of course just strictly playing tackle in college, you kind of take 3 sets and kind of really reacting to the defender. Guard, it's much quicker. You got to get your hands on right away. Make sure not to overset them. Got to keep that inside leverage because it happens a lot faster than it does on the edge. So I think that kind of as day 2, 3 of practice, kind of going into the game as well, something I really try to pick up is more and more. I think just kind of becoming more comfortable with the playbook. I think the first day you kind of get thrown out there and you're kind of just really running around, just trying to make sure you do the right thing. But kind of you're able to get 2, 3 days of studying the playbook, you're really much more comfortable with it. You're not really worried about what my assignment is. You're kind of just worried about executing your assignment as fast as possible.
I'm sure at Fordham, one of the knocks was, your level of competition. When that came up, was there somebody or a team that you pointed to that, was, a formidable opponent that you worked against?
Yeah, I would definitely say my graduate year, I think the 2021 season in the fall, playing teams such as Nebraska and Florida Atlantic, I think that was something that really served me well as kind of course, playing at FCS school, especially Patriot League. There's always going to be that strength of competition question mark. So I think kind of being able to show against a great Big Ten defense like as Nebraska was, kind of being able to really show what I was able to do, I think that's something that really helped me a lot.
Who did you go against in the Senior Bowl mostly when you were lining up the guard?
Yeah, guard guys like Travis Jones, Perrin Winfrey, Otito Ogbanio. I think I'm probably butchering his name, but he was a great. All 3 of those guys really great players in the interior. I think they're all got drafted. I think they're going to be very successful. I think that kind of able to play against that level of competition is something that served me very well.